All right, welcome back to Hockey Hub. Adam Pellerin, Sophia Jurksztowicz, joined by Pete Blackburn. We really appreciate Pete being on with us. We talked a lot about the Marco Sturm hiring in the first segment of the show. Let's move on to the Stanley Cup final. And, Pete, I'm usually a victim of recency bias, and, I admit that because watching the first two games of this Cup final, it's like, man, this is the greatest Cup final I've ever seen, or at least start to it. What are your thoughts on the first two games of the series?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. I think anybody who may have had like a fatigue or an aversion to a rematch, it's got to be quieted at this point, right? Because the first two games have been unbelievable. And, you can look back on last year and say that it went 7 games, but ultimately, like if you look back, a lot of those 7 games were multi-goal games. It wasn't as close on a game-to-game basis as the first two games have been this year. And yeah, the Oilers have been the better team for like a bigger part of this series, but ultimately, like you get an overtime game, a double overtime game, and then we're back to square one. It's a best of 5 at this point. And so I don't think you could really ask for too much more from the first two games here, at least from an entertainment standpoint. And then game 2, you also had the nastiness start to come to the front. Like this is pure entertainment. I think that we could be staring down the barrel of the best Stanley Cup final matchup since the Bruins faced the Canucks in 2011. So that really excites me.
Dude, it's been so fun to watch, as you said, from all aspects. Even the players have said so to the media a couple of times, saying, like, I don't think you could be asking for anything more. I think they're feeling the intensity as everyone does in a final, but it just seems a bit extra special with the rematch. How many more OTs do you think we're seeing in this series?
I mean, at this rate, we're going to get 3 OTs tonight in Game 3. We're going to get 4 in Game 4, and so on and so on. And at this point, like, it might be just the last team standing. Honestly, in Game 2, I said at the beginning of the game, I was asked, is this a must-win game for Florida? And I said, absolutely not. Like, both of these teams are teams that just do not have any quit in them. They're never out of games, and I think we've seen that throughout these playoffs and throughout this series so far. But the longer that game went on, I just kept thinking to myself, Florida better get this one, because if you lose 2 overtime games and you basically played an entire extra game through, double overtime and then overtime, if you don't get one of those and you're an older team with a guy like Brad Marchand, who's like, no disrespect to Brad, I love him. He's got a little mileage on those legs. Like, they've got older players. You want to get at least one of those games. So, yeah, it could just be wearing down players as the series goes along, and last team standing might win here.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, too, right? Because, Marshy scored, the go-ahead goal in regulation, and then 40-year-old Corey Perry scored the game-tying goal, and then double overtime, it's Marshy again, who's pushing 40, 37 years old. Let's talk about Brad Marchand. I mean, when he was traded to Florida, everybody around here is like, how can you trade Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers? That's so strange to see him in a Panthers sweater after everything that's happened between the Bruins and Panthers over the years and the Sam Bennett stuff from last playoff. But he's a perfect fit there. He has been just everything the Panthers could ask for and more.
Yeah, I never doubted that. Like, I didn't like the trade. I didn't like the return, but there was no doubt in my mind that he was going to absolutely click in Florida, because they play like a prison yard team. And of course, like, that's why we all love Brad Marchand. That's why everybody else hated Brad Marchand. He is one of those guys that, like, if he plays for your team, you absolutely love him. And if he's especially playing for the Florida Panthers, who already fit that mold, he is going to click. Like, it's going to be unbelievable and seamless. And it has been. So, as a fan, it's been a weird experience, because part of me still wants Brad Marchand's success to be limited to the Bruins, and I want him to always be propped up as a Bruin. But at the same time, it's very cool to be able to watch him still and on this stage, and him still be able to do the Brad Marchand things that we came to love him for. So, it's been bittersweet for sure. And I saw Sarah Sivian say this after Game 2, and I agree with her. It feels like the Panthers owe the Bruins an extra first-round draft pick at this point, based off of Brad Marchand's contributions. Just wish that they had gotten more for him, because he's clearly unlocked something with that third line in Florida, and they are so lucky to have him.
Oh my gosh, it really has been the perfect fit for them. I agree with Sarah Sivian's tweet, and I'm still hoping that if Brad hoists the cup, he'll maybe come back and finish his career in Boston, but obviously we'll wait and see. That being said, some of the criticism that was floating around was that Brad wanted more than at 37 in terms of term and in terms of money you would normally pay a 37-year-old. Now, with what he's showing and shown, do you think he has earned that, whatever those numbers were? Do you think he has earned that from any team, not just the Boston Bruins? And I just want to throw in there, I think a lot of people are forgetting that he is absolutely fighting for a spot on the Canadian men's Olympic roster as well. Like, that was not a shoo-in, especially with his age. And I know he's dying to play because of COVID and because of the negotiations back in the day with the Olympics. So that he's probably not thinking about that now, but he's so motivated to make sure that Team Canada has him on that team. So I think at least for the first half of the season, wherever he signs, not saying that it would taper off after that, but he'll be like he is now, like a dog on a bone, as Jack Edwards used to say. So with what you've seen, is he earning that max money or that money that he was looking for?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to come down to term and dollar amount, and that can be more unpalatable. But like, if we're talking about Sam Bennett being a $10 million player over a 7-year deal, like Brad Marchand's got to be worth like $7 million at least for the next couple of years based off of what we're seeing. And I think that he's answering a lot of those questions. And you know that teams are out there looking for that final piece to push them over the top. And if you're like a contending team, say like a Colorado or a Dallas, and you see what Brad Marchand has brought to the Florida Panthers, who, yeah, they already won the Stanley Cup last year. They've proven that they can do it without Marchand. But again, like what he's been able to unlock for that third line with those two other guys, Lusterine and Lundell, like that has been their best line of the playoffs. And Brad Marchand is a huge part of that. And, game 2, he comes up huge in a couple big moments and ends up being the difference in that game. Like that could end up being the difference between a Stanley Cup title and a runner-up finish. So teams out there that are looking for the final piece are absolutely going to value that. And I think that based off of what Marchand has done for the Panthers and done for himself and done it outside of Boston where, it looked like maybe he was slowing down a little bit. Well, you remove him from that and it doesn't look like he's slowing down whatsoever. So maybe it's just a product of the circumstances and, him filling a role that's more suited to him at his age right now. Like, I think that he's going to be able to command what he wants in free agency. Teams are going to be willing to give that to him based off of their own desperation to finally get over the hump and find that final piece.
Well, Pete, you've given some great thoughts on, Bruins' new head coach and Stanley Cup final. Wanted to get your thoughts on something that you posted. It's related to the Stanley Cup final. You're not afraid to voice your opinion, and it's the Stanley Cup patch. And you were very, opinionated about this. The patch placement has become an affront to the game I love. The cup should be moved for no one. Response.
Listen, I have very strong opinions about jerseys and corporate greed and all that. I really, really don't love the jersey advertisements. And I know that it's a small little patch, but it is a slippery slope. And we're talking about sucking the soul out of something that I think is so pure with these jerseys and these uniforms. And it's like intrinsically part of the brand of like these historic NHL clubs. I don't love selling that off for a handful of extra $1 million per year, especially when this time of the year we're hitting the Stanley Cup final, and a cool, really, really cool part of it for not only the players, not only the fans, not only our eyeballs, but like the Stanley Cup patch being sewn onto these sweaters as the two final teams standing over the course of a long, grueling NHL season. No, now we have to slap it and absolutely tuck it into a minuscule part of the jersey because you have to really give this real estate to what Auto Nation or whatever it is for the Florida Panthers. I hate it. I hate it so much. It bothers me. It's not only an eyesore. I think it's just part of just kind of sucking the soul out of the game when we gotta keep this thing pure as we can. We love it so much. So
not to be
Listen,
dramatic or anything, right? Don't be dramatic or anything.
It's very dramatic. I know I'm very dramatic, but it just hurts my eyes, man. I hate it.
You said
Plus,
it's like a small
like 2
patch.
years-
It's not the. Go ahead.
In
Go
2
ahead.
years, we're going to be talking about these European leagues where they're slapping stickers on the front of the helmet. They're putting ads everywhere. It's just such a slippery slope. You give a few inches, they try to take a foot. So it really bothers me knowing where this could go.
Dude, I agree with you, and it's not that small. You're like, oh, I know it's just a small patch. It's huge. It is not that small. So your passion is valid, and we're gonna keep you on a rant since you're kind of going. But what do you think about? There was a vote, and the not Bruins. I think it is Bruins fan. Adam brought this to my attention. Bruins fans or just Boston fans have been voted the most obnoxious.
Bruins fans, yes.
Bruins fans? Okay.
Action Network, yeah. Said the Bruins are the most obnoxious fans in the National Hockey League. 10.5% of the vote.
Okay, yeah. So take that away, Pete.
I would disagree with that, being somebody who deals with 32 fan bases on a daily basis. Maybe it's because Bruins fans are they're my own, so I don't consider them annoying a lot of the time. Sometimes I do. But to that, my ultimate genuine reaction is good.
Yes.
I want us to be considered the most obnoxious and the most annoying and in your face. Good. Be worse. Be worse. Be kind. Don't be nasty. Don't be like a disgrace. Don't reflect poorly on the logo. But be annoying. Be obnoxious. Good. Be loud and keep it going. Make sure that it is next year when they do this vote. Make sure it's even more distance between first and second place.
Yeah,
That's
bump
how I
that
feel
up to
about it.
15% rather than 10.5%. Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a win. That's a win in your eyes. I like it.
I mean, Sophia, let me ask you this. You know the
Yes.
Toronto fan base well. Are you not going to say that Toronto is more obnoxious and more annoying than the Bruins fan base?
100% yes. 100% they are more annoying and more obnoxious, and it goes in ranges. I think, as you know, the Bruins fans are some of my favorite people on earth because they've embraced me so nicely as a non Bostonian. So I feel so grateful. But in Toronto, there's ranges. There's the corporate a-holes, and then there's there's a lot. There's people who are not from Toronto but have claim the team. So yes, I would agree they're number one, and I much more enjoyed dealing with these fans over here.